So next up on our tour of the world, we're crossing the Atlantic Ocean, coming over to North America, to Mexico. And we're going to go down to Baja California and hear a story about the Peninsular Pronghorn Recovery Program. This is a program that is trying to bring back a subspecies of pronghorn that has been lost for much of its range. And this is going to be presented by Aide Sanchez and her father, Victor Sanchez. Aide will be in the beginning of the talk reading Victor's words, and they're translated into English and subtitles. They're in Spanish for those of you who are so skilled. But then her second half of the presentation, Aide's, focused on community work, will be in English. Aide is the Outreach and Communications Manager, and Victor Sanchez is the founder and director of the Peninsular Pronghorn Recovery Program. The title of their talk is Community Engagement in the Conservation of the Peninsular Pronghorn.
Más de 2 décadas han pasado desde que inició esta historia de conservación del berrendo peninsular y su hábitat. Los esfuerzos de conservación han sido constantes. Entre 1976 y 1992 se realizaron 15 censos terrestres y 3 aéreos por la Dirección General de Vida Silvestre, arrojando un número máximo del orden de los 93 ejemplares. Pero en 1993, como resultado de un censo aéreo realizado por Sandy Langham, se reportaron 164 ejemplares, el registro más abundante realizado hasta el momento. Censos posteriores desarrollados por Langham, en coordinación con la CONAMP, dieron resultados similares: 145 ejemplares en el año 95 y 160 ejemplares en el año 2000. Asimismo, el área de distribución del berrendo en la península de Baja California se redujo significativamente, de 25,000 a 4,000 kilómetros cuadrados en menos de 40 años, por lo que el berrendo en la actualidad se localiza únicamente en la Reserva de la Biosfera El Vizcaíno y en el área de protección de flora y fauna Valle de los Cirios. En otras palabras, esta región es el último santuario del berrendo peninsular. El berrendo peninsular se encuentra en la lista mexicana de especies en riesgo, NOM 059 Semarnat 2010, y desde la primera aparición de la lista se incluyó como especie en peligro de extinción en México, ya que su número era del orden de los 164 individuos y su distribución original se había reducido en más del 90%. Es por ello que en 1997, la Semarnat, a través de la Unidad Coordinadora de Áreas Naturales Protegidas, UCAN, conjuntamente con Espacios Naturales y Desarrollo Sustentable, AC, inició un programa para la recuperación del berrendo peninsular, conocido ahora como PRBP, en la Reserva de la Biosfera de El Vizcaíno, con el fin de incrementar su población, conservar su hábitat y disminuir o mitigar las amenazas a las que se enfrenta esta pequeña población a través de la integración de un hato cautivo, la reproducción programada de individuos fundadores y aplicando formas diferenciadas de manejo de los grupos en intensivo, extensivo, vida libre y cautividad, y desarrollando un componente de educación ambiental dirigido a las comunidades locales y al público en general. Actualmente, el berrendo peninsular sigue siendo una especie prioritaria para la CONAMP y para espacios naturales, y el PRBP continúa en operación avanzada con la iniciativa que busca salvar a esta subespecie de la extinción, y por lo que han realizado varios talleres para analizar la viabilidad de esta pequeña población con un grupo de más de 30 expertos. Y como resultado de ello, se estableció que el PRBP es un componente específico del Programa de Acción para la Conservación de Especies en Riesgo PACE a nivel nacional y cuyo objetivo es contribuir al manejo y recuperación del berrendo peninsular y su hábitat en la península de Baja California, particularmente en la Reserva de la Biosfera El Vizcaíno y en el área de protección de flora y fauna Valle de los Cirios, mediante formas diferenciadas de manejo en intensivo, extensivo, vida libre y cautividad, y con ello lograr la recuperación de esta subespecie en su rango histórico de distribución a fin de eliminarla de la lista de especies en riesgo. Los objetivos particulares son Realizar los estudios de análisis de parentesco de los ejemplares fundadores del berrendo peninsular utilizando un grupo de 20 marcadores microsatélites y diseñar las cruzas de los ejemplares fundadores basados en el índice de parentesco Minkenship entre individuos. Realizar las cruzas seleccionadas por el programa de reproducción anual derivado del estudio genético. Realizar el monitoreo continuo de los hatos de alto valor genético, así como los hatos en manejo extensivo confinado tanto en la estación La Choya, Llano del Berrendo, como en la estación Benito Juárez. Realizar periódicamente censos terrestres y aéreos de la población en vida libre. Manejar los hatos de berrendo conforme a los programas temáticos anuales, tales como son reproducción, cruzas fuera de corrales y crianza de recentales, colecta de muestras biológicas para los estudios genéticos, alimentación, marcaje, salud animal, traslocaciones, censos terrestres, control de coyote y perro feral, esterilizaciones de perros callejeros, recolección de residuos sólidos, mantenimiento del equipo y construcción de la infraestructura, producción de forrajes, educación ambiental, monitoreo y vigilancia, desarrollo de proyectos productivos alternativos para los dueños de la tierra, como el queso, vino, carne, hortalizas, huertos, turismo, talleres de planificación ejidal. Gestionar la participación en el PRBP de los dueños de la tierra e inducir mejores prácticas, formación de microempresas y formas asociativas. Apoyo a la gestión de pago por servicios ambientales para la conservación de la biodiversidad a través del programa de fondos concurrentes de la CONAFOR, aplicados para la conservación del hábitat del berrendo. El área de estudio es aproximadamente de 5.000 kilómetros cuadrados, 500.000 hectáreas, y se localiza entre el paralelo 27 grados y 29 grados latitud norte, en las llanuras costeras localizadas hacia el Océano Pacífico, en la porción central de la península de Baja California. Es un desierto de neblina por la influencia marina, aunque se considera una región hiperárida y con un clima muy seco y semicálido. Corresponde a la subdivisión vizcaíno del desierto sonorense. Se caracteriza por tener suelos claros, arenosos, jóvenes y regosoles. Su vegetación es predominantemente xerófila, con tipos de vegetación sarcocaule y halófita. Es indispensable continuar con este esfuerzo de conservación, ya que lo más significativo del programa de recuperación del berrendo peninsular ha sido la conformación de un hato reproductor a partir de 45 ejemplares viables genéticamente, a partir del cual existe una población de 650 berrendos peninsulares. Otro aspecto sobresaliente es que el hato se encuentra en una superficie de 54.000 hectáreas de hábitat histórico bajo manejo y control territorial, en el cual se realiza un número de acciones de manejo que permiten mitigar las amenazas in situ y gestionar el tiempo y espacio necesarios para la sobrevivencia a largo plazo del berrendo peninsular. La gestión transversal que el PRBP ha logrado ha podido conjuntar apoyos económicos e infraestructura a través de donativos y de subsidios para los dueños de la tierra, pero sobre todo ha generado una sólida plataforma de confianza para la solución de los dilemas de la conservación que enfrenta el berrendo. El berrendo peninsular y su hábitat son recursos de uso compartido, que conjuga tanto la participación responsable de los dueños de la tierra en la conservación de sus recursos, como la gestión de la acción colectiva de los participantes basada en un principio de confianza. Este es un elemento esencial que se ha buscado reafirmar en cada acción emprendida por el programa de recuperación del berrendo peninsular. Hello, my name is Aide Sanchez, and I am the Administrative Coordinator of the Peninsular Pronghorn Recovery Program. In this occasion, I will talk about the community engagement in the conservation of the Peninsular Pronghorn. The Peninsular Pronghorn Recovery Program began in 1998 with a capture of 5 fawns. At this time, the last census counted only 163 wild specimens. 22 years have passed since the program began, and the difficulties are constant. The achievements are palpable and are multiplied day by day with the experience and the uninterrupted work that a field team carries out with the species. The support and participation of our multiple partners is invaluable to the achievement of the goals and to overcome the challenges that arise each year. The Peninsular Pronghorn Program, works hand in hand with the community and the landowners. The ejidos, or communal landowners, are a fundamental part of the success of this program and the recovery of the species and its habitat. The population of the Peninsular Pronghorn has increased to 650 specimens, and its approximate annual reproduction rate is of the order of 100 birds, of which half managed to reach adulthood. We are on the right track, but there is still much to do. Okay, why is the participation of the landowners so important? Most of the protected natural areas in Mexico were created on surfaces with several ownership regimes, ejidal, private, community, or federal. The Peninsular Pronghorn and its habitat are natural resources for shared use by the communities of the natural protected areas of Baja California Desert. This is why the participation of the landowner is so important, because it affects their interest and acquire rights directly or indirectly. The Wildlife Management Units, or WMUs, in the Peninsular Pronghorn case, the wildlife law stipulates that its management must be carried out through the Wildlife Management Units, or WMUs. Wildlife of Mexico belongs to the state. Landowners may obtain a rate of use of the species that are authorized for their management, so that the landowner benefits economically by protecting the requested species and its habitat through direct or indirect use, for example, tourism. The Peninsular Pronghorn Recovery Program works together with the communal landowners in order to create virtuous association for conservation, always seeking the viability of the species that inhabits their properties and that such management is sustainable. The Environmental Service Payment Program from the National Forestry Commission, CONAFOR, pays environmental services through an Environmental Service Payment Program, ESPP, to the communal landowners or ejidos with concurrent funds. This is a one-to-one payment that comes from the Forest Fund and donations from private companies, groups, civil society agencies that participate with this contribution that gives tangible value to nature and that represents a substantial support for the ejidos or participating owners for the Forest Fund. This Forest Fund recognizes the budget assigned to the PPRP as a counterpart in the contract. Most contracts are around 280 pesos or $14 per hectare or 2.5 acres for a maximum of 2,000 hectares per participant. Of the total funds delivered, 40% goes to the PPRP and the remaining 60% goes to productive projects. The remaining 60 can be distributed to a producer company, municipal services, or directly and transparently provided as cash delivered to the recipients. The main anthropogenic threats and how the PPRP is mitigating them. We have habitat fragmentation, illegal hunting, and cattle ranching. For habitat fragmentation, we put up signs and inform the local people about the pronghorn presence, attending the normative frames in the management program of El Vizcaíno Biosphere Reserve. For the future, we would like to build a biological corridor for the pronghorn interconnecting the ejidos that are involved. In the case of illegal hunting, maintaining the surveillance in the core area and in the surroundings of the stations, keep providing information to the environmental education program. In the cattle ranching, the alternative that the PPRP offers is the intensive productive of cattle for the production of cheese or beef jerky through the technification of the production units while this objective is achieved. The alternative productive activities in the case of the Peninsular pronghorn, we have developed alternative productive activities that do not compromise pronghorn habitat, but that generate a base economy that allows the landowners to have alternative economic income and allows them to survive an annual cycle. The productive projects are financed with the federal subsidies such as cheese production and organic beef jerky, wine, vegetables, cornfields, livestock of small species such as organic chicken and eggs, charcoal, aquaculture, tourism, handcrafts. To develop and marketing products and services for this product diversification, manufactured products, production and sale of handcrafts, wines, cheese, jams, preserves, nuts, honey, sauce, beef, the design and commercialization of paraphernalia alluding to the PPRP and conservation in general, called regional product fairs, the services to create companies focused on tourism, service provider guides, lodging, camps, cabins, restaurants, souvenir shop, tourist transportation, ecotourism products, hiking, missions, paintings, whales, birds, wetlands. The internet for the communities, like in the service, garbage collection, or a local recycling center. The training of the communal landowners in environmental management for conservation. The continuous training of the personnel and the development of the skills of the brigades that carry out daily tasks is an invaluable resource in effective resource management. The PPRP trains in daily management and operation the landowners who attend a number of activities such as management of covered subsidies, fundraising and donations, integration of reports, protocols and methodologies, integration of companies and associated forms, application forms for subsidies, fiscal management, social security, application for study scholarships. It coaches groups of students from different universities who are instructed on the management of the species and its habitat, its natural history and environmental interpretation. For the present and future, the transfer of the technological package to the ejidos has begun. We are on the third stage of the recovery of the species and the first for the restoration of the ecosystem. The PPRP will continue working with the ejidatarios on all the fronts mentioned. From now on, the plan consists of adding surface each year, either by integrating new participant communities or a larger surface area, until forming a large corridor without domestic livestock, continued surveillance of the area, and where a sustainable population of pronghorn survives, which will allow the restoration of the ecosystem and keep bringing benefits to the communities and the planet. We appreciate you for participating in this summit and caring for the conservation of deserts and our planet. Special thanks to the Living Desert Zoos and Gardens for your consideration in inviting the Peninsular Pronghorn Recovery Program. Thanks to every person, every team, every institution, Government of Mexico, CSOs, NGOs, partners, and donors. Thank you to all the ejidos that participate. You have made the Peninsular Pronghorn Recovery Program what it is today, a successful program on track of saving a very important subspecies on the verge of the extinction. Thank you.
Well, an amazing story. I think clearly something that is very moving for me personally as a person who's loved pronghorn his whole life ever since growing up. And something that wasn't shared in the video, and that they would be much too modest to acknowledge, is that much of the reason why the peninsular pronghorn as a subspecies still exists is because of the Sanchez family. Victor and his daughter Aide, and their many collaborators and team members. And I think that we have right now the honor of having Aide and Victor join us from Guerrero Negro in Baja California. Is that true?
Yes, we live here.
I think you might have a backdrop on, Victor.
Yeah, sorry.
Or you've become an alien shapeshifter, one of the two. But in any case, thank you so much for those great stories to share. There are quite a few questions that we have here for you that we could talk about for the next couple minutes. The first one is you talked about the sustainable livelihoods and the diversity of sustainable livelihoods projects that you're working with the people on the ejidos and the communally owned land, and how important that is. Is there anywhere that those products could be purchased in the United States that we as Americans, North Americans, could support you with?
Well, not at the moment, not right now. No, we don't have, we plan to get some out, but we don't have right now at the moment. We don't have to purchase. Yeah, we're very green in that area.
Well, it seems like we have a ready audience for you, a market to sell your things. So on our next trip down, we'll have to buy some from you to bring back up to sell here.
Sure.
A question for Victor. We were talking about, or y'all were talking about in the story about the impact of fences and how useful they are for protecting the pronghorn that you're breeding from wild dogs, from coyotes, and a variety of other animals. There was a question about whether fences contribute to pronghorn mortality. Do pronghorn ever get caught in fences that lead to them dying?
Well, we use several types of fences, no? Net fences and wired fences, and but we just use those fences for keep apart the cattle and for keep apart the coyotes, no? The main predator, the pronghorn's predator, no? So in the rest of the area, as you see, there are no fences, no, for containing cattle. It's a way for the cattlemen here to release the cattle over all around, no, and no fences limit their expansion, no, but we use the fences to keep apart this 54,000 hectares, no, to keep apart this habitat is exclusively for pronghorn and not for cattle, no.
Very good. All right. You had spoken, Victor, in your text that I had read for you about the next step, the next important step being habitat corridor construction. What do you think are, or what will be the largest barriers to creating those those biological corridors to be able to link the pronghorn populations?
In the peninsula, no, we have a peninsula that is 100, almost 1,500 kilometers, no, so it's about 1,500, no, kilometers large, the peninsula, from Magdalena Bay to the border with the United States. All this corridor, no, we are talking about 1,300 kilometers, no, from Magdalena to San Diego, no, and it's free, no. There are many forms that the pronghorn can avoid all the roads or fences or towns, no, in between. So it's for us is really good to see that very few people live over there, no. In Valle de los Cirios Reserve only live 2,000 people, no. We are talking about 2,000 people, so it's very few people. We are talking about the largest protected area in Mexico, no?
Yeah.
So the thing is to connect with California. This is the next step. Well, one of the steps ahead that we want to consolidate is to bring more pronghorns to the southern part of the California state in United States.
Yes.
This is the project that we have together with you and LA Zoo and other people, no, Fish and Wildlife Service, and we hope soon we can get some results about that. No?
It'll be amazing when we can bring back the pronghorn, peninsular pronghorn into the United States again, as well as in Baja. You've done such a great job of increasing the numbers of pronghorn fourfold over the time that you've been there, which is really quite remarkable. So I think our final question before we have to move on,
All right.
a personal question for you both. This is both for you, Victor, and for you, Tuaide. How did your family become so interested and committed to saving peninsular pronghorn? What was your personal stories? And Aide, why do you stay with it?
Okay, thank you, James. Well, pronghorn has been in my life since I was born. My parents both, they worked in a feeding program in the San Luis state in Mexico, and I have pictures in a garden with pronghorn, so they have been in my life since I remember. So it was until 2010 I became a part of the formal part of the team, and I started working here. I came to Baja California to live here and help, because it is very important in this program to have well, this type of interest. Not many people are interested in conservation, no? So it is very hard to give the people well, I don't know, transmit the interest to these people, no? It's a very hard work that we are now trying to do. So I'm very glad to be working here. It's an amazing program. It has a lot of success. It's not just like monitoring a species. It's like living the program 24/7 through all the year. We have to have our phones available. All the team is amazing. They do an amazing work, and they are available to this purpose of keeping the pronghorn, the peninsular pronghorn, in the planet.
That's right. Yeah, well, we are very grateful to you all, to your family, to your friends, many of whom we've had the honor, several of us here have had the honor of getting to work with and meet with in person earlier this year. We look forward to continuing to work with you and further your successes that you've had with the communities across Baja California, but especially around Valle de los Cirios. Thank you both for all that you do.
Thank you very much, Jeff.
We're very grateful for being a part of this.
James.
Thank
See you.
Okay, take care.